All right, so welcome everybody to AJ Circle, hosted by Jen. And I am honored that AJ asked me to host her circle because I know how much you guys mean to her and how much this space means to her. So it is an honor. So thank you guys for allowing me to come in here and stir up some of my wayward magic. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Jen and I am the head magic maker over at the Wayward Witch Co. And that was really created from a space of really going on my own shadow work journey. I used to, live a life of just depression, despair, lack, all of the things that we don't want to experience, right? I was certainly experiencing, and I went on my own journey, and it was so life-changing that it just felt very natural for me to share that with others. And there's just nothing more empowering than being in that space where women do realize their power and realize how much empowerment and power they do have to create their life by soul design. So that's essentially what I do over there. I do teach all things, witchy, magic, spiritual. See, we got someone coming here in the waiting room, let them in. So I do kind of dabble in a little bit of everything and really turn it into my own practice. So I certainly don't follow a lot of strict rules or guidelines, and I build that into my teaching as well. Here's this way that I do it. Here's other ways that you could do it. Let me know how you work with that. Hold on one sec.
AJ, it's good to see you as a participant.
Yeah, hi. Totally agree.
This is me in my human form. Thanks for being chill with it. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous and I was like, we had the discussion. It's okay. We're just gonna receive and chill. So thank you for the grace tonight.
AJ is going to relax tonight and just enjoy. Sorry, guys, I had a dog got a hold of the loudest squeaky toy in the house.
Hey, Zuri.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Jet. Hello, Tara. Hello, hello. I was just getting into a little intro of myself. And I would love for you guys to either throw in the chat or unmute and just tell me one thing about yourself you'd like me to know, just so I can get to know you just a little bit. I thought I would lead you all in meditation as well before we get started. And then we'll talk about this theme you guys are working on of becoming. So does anyone want to unmute and just tell me a little about yourselves? I'm sure you guys already all know each other, so you can just tell me just one or two things about yourself. I'll wait. Angel's over there thinking of something. Let's see. Tara says, I love dogs a lot. Me too.
I don't know. Let's see. I've lived in Germany for now a smidge under half my life, now that I'm much older. At one point it was over half my life. And then you saw the little rugrat behind me. She likes to sometimes participate in our classes, but that's my 7-year-old.
And do you involve your 7-year-old with the things that you learn?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Right now, my biggest thing that I teach her is about period equality. I do teach stuff here, but right now it's predominantly period equality, especially now that her hormones are kicking in early. I want to make sure that that's stuff that she understands and that it's not a taboo. So she knows a handful of stuff. She surprised her nurse when she brought her period back. The nurse was like, oh yeah, we don't teach that till 5th grade. She was like, it's okay. My mom's already teaching me everything.
I love it. That's beautiful.
So
I think that's really important. A lot of I think young girls aren't fully prepared for quite what's to come, right? So I think that's really beautiful. And I feel like she'll be an invitation too, maybe to some of her friends who don't have that information. So lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, who else wants to share something about themselves? Nobody? That's okay. I don't bite either, so you guys can be super open here. Oh, hi.
I'll pause for a second. I'm about to drive home from work. But I am Jet, she, her. I am an artist, and that's where I'm leaving now, is the studio where I work. And I'm in the process of trying to switch jobs, from working 2 retail jobs to working for the post office. It's still in process, so who knows? And I'm an aunt who has 2 nieces, and I love them dearly, and I spend all of my time with them. And that's a good, quick little intro. I'm gonna start driving now.
Awesome. Drive safe, and so nice to meet you, and thank you for sharing more about you. AJ, you'll have to show me some of that art we're talking about here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My name is AJ, also she, her. This is art stuff, and I kind of miss it. And one thing about me is that I am currently figuring out what sustainability looks like in my life and practices for my soul, so that burnout is not a regular occurrence. And I found out that we're moving to Florida before we move to Korea for 2 months. So I'm just gonna have 2 months on the beach where I'm legally not even allowed to do any in-person business. So I'm just gonna like chill out and have like soul care time for my soul, which sounds really cool. And so
I
that's
think that's amazing.
about me.
I love that for you. What divine timing for you. Beautiful. All right, Tara, I know it looks like you might be driving too, so if it's unsafe to talk, that's okay.
Actually, I'm on my way home. I had gotten out of work late and met a friend really quick for a bite to eat, and then traffic is just horrible. So yeah, I'm almost home. But my name is Tara. She, her. I am married. I've got kids. One of them is currently living as a roommate. One is living with his boyfriend in, I think, Taylor now. It was Weaverville, but I think he's moved. He didn't want to tell me. My other one's in Florida. I've got another one in Austin. I've got a daughter in Austin. We're just everywhere.
Start out.
Usually I play Dungeons and Dragons on Friday, so I kind of miss this. But I realize that I need to make this my priority, because I'm trying to better myself, and being in this group really helps me, because I've never had a whole lot of women type friends. I guess because of the very outgoing person that I am, I guess maybe I just don't get along with other women because they think I'm, I don't know, interested in their man, which I'm not. I've got my own. But I've always been better friends with men. So I want to learn how to be a better person, and knowing how people react to things, or know that the things that I experience, other people also experience or think of the same way that I do, is really, I didn't know that. I thought I was, in the way that I think about things or the way that I process things, and I'm not, apparently, from this group. So AJ's taught me a lot, and how to be kind of vulnerable with people who don't know me, which I don't really do. So here's good.
Well, so lovely to meet you. And that's what I love about these spaces too. And I find that almost all of them, and AJ can attest to this too, especially in my group, it's like we are all the rule breakers, the magic makers, the black sheep, the ones who didn't have, all the girlfriends growing up. And they just all come together in just this most amazing space. And everybody can share codes and learn from each other and grow together. So I'm glad that you guys have this group as well. And I'm reading you guys in the chat, and it's just so, you guys are so cute. I love it. And just seeing what AJ's saying here. Yeah. Yeah, so, and Tara, have you heard of the Celestine Prophecy?
No.
That book teaches a lot about control dramas and why people show up the way that they show up. So it teaches about control dramas, such as, people who are showing up as the victim, people who are showing up as the interrogator or the intimidator, or they're showing up aloof. And because you had mentioned, you're just wanting to learn about why people are showing up and how. And so that book might be something that you want to check out. I teach a lot of that in my shadow work program because it gives such a great understanding, not only of yourself. Okay, I'm showing up as an intimidator here for sure. I can see that. So I just felt called to offer that to you, that information, so you can check it out. And if you guys see me over here, with my pen, when I'm channeling info or when info is coming in intuitively, it comes in really fast. So sometimes I'll write stuff down that I feel called to mention to somebody. So don't mind me if you see me over here doing that, not scribbling or taking copious notes on your personal business or anything. Don't worry. So, all right, thank you so much for introducing yourselves. We'll do, like I said, a little guided meditation to just get us started and grounded in. And then I would love for this to be a really interactive call. I'm going to ask you guys a lot of questions. We're going to talk about this theme of becoming. And I would just love to hear from you guys. This is really going to be open circle. And you can ask questions of me anytime throughout the call. You can unmute yourself, you can throw it in the chat, whatever you want to do. I am super happy to answer questions as well. So before we go into, it's just going to be a little light meditation, just to, again, give us a little release and, ground in, get present. So does anyone have any questions before we do that? No? Okay, so go ahead and just get comfortable and close your eyes. If you have a oil, a crystal, a candle you want to light, whatever you want to do to just really get comfortable and cozy here. All right, I'm just going to close my eyes as I do this, so don't mind me. Okay, so just go ahead and first take that first deep breath in and out, just as comfortable as feels good for you. Then go ahead and take another breath. And on that breath, I want you guys to imagine yourself gathering up all of your frustrations from the day, all of your anxieties, any of those lower emotions, any of those looping thoughts, whatever you're worried about, and anything that's ready to be released. Imagine that you're gathering that up into your lungs. Just pull it up from the body. Really pay attention to where you're feeling any of those stresses in the body. Just make note of that and really pull that energy up and out. And on the out breath, just release that out of your body and sending it out to be transmuted into something beautiful. And then just do that a few more times. Every time you're just pulling more stress and frustration out of your body. In and out. Just release. And if you have a lot of thoughts running through your mind and it's really hard to get grounded and present, don't feel like you necessarily have to push those thoughts out of your head. Just imagine them floating by. You can acknowledge them and save them for later. If there's stuff you need to contend with, just let it float on by like clouds in the sky. And the thoughts might race it, and just let it flow by. You might start going again, let it flow by. Another releasing breath in and out. And now I want you guys to bring in some source energy. So go ahead and just imagine your energy just going up from the top of your head, past the ceiling, past the roof, past the sky, all the stars, through all the dimensions and all that is. Just keep going until you feel you have connected to source energy. And the visual I'm getting here is just a beautiful pearl, opalescent, divine white light For me, it's got a lot of that really pastel light rainbow energy. Whatever you are seeing, feeling, or even if you're feeling nothing, just trust that you're getting the clearing and healing today. Good. And once you feel you've connected with your source, go ahead and bring that source energy down, back down the way you came. So back through the dimensions, past the stars, down through your roof and your ceiling. And just imagine that trickling into the top of your head slowly. Really feel that energy coming down and just wrapping around your mind. You can even ask that source energy to bring some comfort, peace, calmness, stillness to your mind. And then just feel that all around your face, around your eyes and your nose, in your mouth. And when you bring that down to the throat, I'm feeling a lot of stuckness in the throat. And so this is a lot of not speaking your full truth, your full voice, keeping frustrations in. And so if this applies to any of you, really spend some time swirling that source energy around in that area, really setting that intention to clear out anything that's keeping you from using your voice whenever you need to. Bring that down into the heart, picking up on some sadness. It feels like some deep, deep sadness. And so I don't know if that's a collective or just for one of you. If this applies, really spend some time in that space, bringing in that source energy. With that source energy is just divine, pure love, unconditional, pure love. Just ask to be shown what that feels like, that pure, unconditional love, and really feel that in the heart space. I'm definitely doing some clearing here. So it might feel a little uncomfortable at first if you've got a lot going on in the heart space, or it feels really closed off, or you've got some heartbreak you're working through. It can feel a little bit uncomfortable to bring source energy in at first. So just ask your body to calibrate to that. Good. You might feel a little bit of butterflies, feelings in your stomach. Go ahead and bring that source energy down. Clearing out any stress or worry or anxieties, worries over the holidays, over being too busy, doing too much, spending too much, worrying too much. A lot of us will keep that in the belly. So bring that source energy in, clearing out anything that doesn't serve you. Okay, good. Bring that down to the sacral and the root. Really spend some time there. Whatever needs to shake up and stir and move out of there so that you can be in touch with your true creation energy. Let that source energy just fill you with unconditional love in every part of your body. Now go ahead and bring that, when you're ready, down your legs. And imagine that source energy going down out of the bottom of your feet, and then send your roots down as well, just as you would when you're grounding. Just ground into the earth, send your roots down with that source energy all the way down until you feel you've reached the center of the earth. Then go ahead and bring that energy back up to meet you down at the bottoms of your feet. And just know that you are grounded. You are loved. You are safe here. You are safe to release your worries here for this time together. And when you're ready, just go ahead and come back. Open your eyes whenever you're ready. Take a couple deep breaths. You might feel like you want to shake it out or move a little bit. Stretch. I always like to give a good stretch after I do some of those grounding and source energy meditations. There seemed like there was a lot of energy going on. Hold on. Have you guys been hearing me okay? My microphone has been down the whole time. So, okay, good. All right, so what came up for you as we were doing that? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Did you have stresses in your mind that you've been thinking about? Did you feel anything in the body? Were there any areas of the body that you were drawn to? Where are we all at? How did that feel?
I can go first. For me, it was like vines had taken over like this chakra, like my throat chakra, and like had like clogged it all up, like, you know, like in Temple of Doom or different, and it's like, so I was like, okay, like let's go here where I need more backbone to like set boundaries and less like clogging my own. So like rerouted some of that, and then it was just like sludge and like dust and stuff on my heart, and then like cobwebs and stuff here on like my solar plexus, and like up here was just kind of just like just kind of like clogged, and so it was just a lot of just like, okay, like, and I just felt like I like was washing myself with like divine like tenderness and grace of just like, oh hey, like all of this is just like protecting and things. So yeah, that was really nice.
Good, good. And I love that you picked up on the grace piece too, because that's something we're going to be talking about too with this theme of becoming. There's a lot of grace involved in that process. So you're already picking up on that energy. So beautiful. What else came up for you guys? Anybody over worrying about the holidays or anything? Hi, Tara. I'm sorry. I saw you were about to go. Go, please go.
Yeah, I've had a lot of positive changes in my life, but as everyone knows, those can still be stressful. So
yeah,
I'm like moving. I just started a new job. I'm currently visiting my mom. Those are all great things, but you know, stress associated. And I had something difficult come up like about a half an hour before this started. So yeah, it just kind of moved me a lot, Jen, when you were going through the part about the throat, because I do have a lot stuck that I have to work through and say, and I do also have a physical injury in the back of my neck that doesn't help, but I'm getting surgery to fix that soon, and it is really frustrating when the things that happen and the emotional things that happen get stuck in a place that I like literally can't fix without surgery. So I was feeling that pretty strongly, but the grounding at the end worked for me way better than it normally does in these types of meditations. And I think that's because I actually feel stable enough to like explore literally like putting roots down and being in one place. So I found that really helpful. Thank you.
Good, beautiful. And you're absolutely right. Even positive change throws us for a loop, right? It gets us out of those comfort zones. So even, and then we can sometimes shame ourselves for that. Like all these great things are going on and I'm struggling. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong. We're bumping up against, right, previous comfort zones and things. So I love that you brought that up. I think that's a really good share for others too, because that's something I've definitely done. Like these positive, amazing things are happening. What's wrong with me, right? And nothing. We're just learning to navigate new comfort zones. So that's beautiful. And I wanted to say for you, I'm being called to recommend that process of bringing in divine energy to your body. I don't know if you're already doing it, so feel free to ignore me if you are. But bringing in divine energy like multiple times a day as part of an energy practice. I work a lot with energy. I read energy, I see the codes behind energy, I see people's energy and what's going on with them. And we discount it a lot because it's unseen. But there's so much that can be healed within our energy. And I liken it to, you know, you're eating healthy and you're getting movement in your body, but there's still something missing. Well, we need to take our vitamins and supplements, right? And so energy work, I liken it to taking your vitamins every day. So even if you try it, I also offer this to everybody to try things as an experiment. If you're not sure I'm not sure if this is for me, I'm not sure if this is real, if it's going to work, go into it as let me just experiment for the next couple weeks with this and see if there's a shift. If there's a shift and this feels great, boom, I'll put it in my toolbox. So just bring yourself some healing energy into that neck, really giving your body that support to prepare going into the surgery and to continue as a supplement to support yourself after. So give that a try and then report back to AJ after a couple of weeks. I want to know how that goes for you. But if you feel called, if that resonates for you, you can exactly how we did it. And there's no right or wrong. Energy work is very much intentional work, and intuit your way through that. How does this look for me to bring in divine energy to myself and have full confidence that that's going to be powerful?
If I look amused, it's not because I'm doubting you, but like part of the turmoil of moving is my daily rituals getting interrupted, starting a new job. Like now I go into an office 2 days a week, but also like I had to pack up all of my things, my tools that help me do this kind of work. And so I just kind of found that interesting because I'm like, well, I pack up my altar before I left, and I'm missing it. I'm really missing doing that all the time.
Yeah. So, and we discount our own power, right? The tools are all supplements and vitamins to our own practice, but just remember how you can bring in that healing and that magic to yourself, even while the tools are put away. And let me learn this new way of working with my magic. So love that for you. I think that'll be, I think you'll get some relief too in the neck as you begin doing that. And again, remembering, so I won't say the swear word because I'm at a new audience here and I won't do that, but there's a trigger question we ask all our girls. We teach this accelerated mastery program called the Soul Wealth Accelerator. And one of the things we ask them at the start of every call, or if we see them spinning or looping or, going into shadow or good things are happening, we will ask them, who the F do you think you are? And the way that we're asking that is, that's the trigger to remember who you are. So when I have my mastermind team and when they'll say that to me, it's just a reminder of, I'm a badass bee. That's who I am. Okay, thank you. So remember that we are all so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. So bring in that magic without the altar. It'll come back when your time and place is ready, but you can still create your magic in the meantime. AJ says, we ask people to be honest, and sometimes that involves swearing. Okay, sometimes I can swear a little bit like a truck driver, so I try to hold that back a little bit because those are some power words for me. I'm getting my point across, right? So awesome. Thank you for sharing. I had another piece come in, but I'm starting to lose it. If it comes back for you, I will let you know. But what I wanted to say to you and everybody, this is something we've been talking a lot about, is anytime we are embracing change, when we embrace it without deeming it positive, negative, we just embrace it, we are expanding. So the change is quite often very uncomfortable. It throws us for a loop. It throws us out of our routines, but setting that perspective of this is going to expand me will allow you to find more of those magic pieces and those alignment pieces as you're going through the process. So that's a reminder I'll tell myself when I've got change coming down the pipeline that I just don't want to contend with. I lost my stepdad a couple of months ago, and that really threw me for a loop, even though I do mediumship and I've talked with many people who have loved ones, and I have not lost somebody that close to me myself. So it was a whole new experience. And so I just had to, during the toughest time, really remind myself, this is creating a lot of change, a lot of catalyst in the family, even though it feels like the most horrible thing. Just remember, just keep it in the back of your mind. So this is good for everybody to remember. Instead of having that change completely throw us for a loop, this is a great step towards becoming exactly who we want to be by embracing change. And another reason why that's important is because if we want to become somebody different, or let's not say somebody different, let's say step into that aligned version of self, that soul version of self, we must sacrifice some of those old operating procedures. We must leave some of those old ways behind that are no longer supportive or productive or in our highest alignment, which means, boom, we've got more change, right? So here's a great affirmation. I am embracing change and I'm expanding and just, run that through your mind. let's see, I'm just going to read this comment here. I like that idea of this is expanding me versus this is chipping away at me and destroying who I was and creating someone entirely new. Like maybe it's just a different way of taking up space than I'm used to. Yes, it really is, because again, human nature is to really fight against change for many, many, many people, self included. That's definitely something I had to learn. And instead of, I wanted to be in my most empowered state. So that meant I couldn't stay in comfort zones. I couldn't expect to stay in comfort zones all the time. And I had to find a way to embrace change. So the first piece I did was remind myself that anytime something's changing or we're changing, I am expanding. I'm not expanding in my comfort zone, because then eventually the comfort zone becomes the small when we've stayed in it a really long time. So sometimes you guys will have me, you'll see me going off on a tangent, but it's all by design. And I'm sure more than one person needed to hear that. So beautiful. All right. What else did we experience during the meditation? Did we feel anything in our body? Did we release? Can we feel that when you're collecting that stress? Can you feel that coming up and out of the lungs as you start to gather that from your body? Hi, please go.
Well, I have a kitten here who keeps interrupting me. So to be honest, I don't think I've ever really I've done similar exercises to that, but I guess it wasn't worded the same way or whatever. But I honestly don't do that. I guess I need to, because I am really stressed, and I do need to figure out a way to deal with that. But I guess I don't really, I guess I need more meditation to help me ground myself, I guess, because I don't do that on a regular basis. So yeah.
So my question for you would be, do you desire to do that? You're saying I need to do more. Do you desire to do more meditation and more energetic release?
I think it would be really helpful if I can figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what I was doing before actually qualifies as that. I mean, I sit and I think about things, and I try and ground myself and, drain the things that are bothering me through my body and sink them into the ground. But it doesn't always work. And I wonder if maybe I'm just not doing it correctly, or because I have very limited knowledge about how to do stuff like that.
So I think let's do a mindset shift, Ken, that you're doing it correctly. Energy work is intention work. And every single person on this planet will read, experience, and work with energy very differently. So I could have 3 of my best mediums in a room with me, and we could all be reading energy and picking up on something very different. And these are people who I know their accuracy, and I know my own accuracy, right? And it doesn't make any one of us wrong. We're just reading energy and doing differently. What I feel like for you is I'm seeing a theme here of change. I feel like a little bit of shakeup perhaps could go a long way, and maybe just adding to the routine. So, but also it's important to know who the F you are and how powerful you are, and that my process does work. But maybe in this moment, I need a different process. Maybe let me try to bring in some divine light. Let me try to gather it up this way and out, right? And so intuit your way through that from one moment to the next when you need a release. Sometimes you might need to go out in the backyard and throw some freaking dishes, right? It's not always going to be super gentle and light and airy fairy. It really depends on how you're storing it in the body, how much is there, how often we're releasing. And then sometimes it might get to a place where I'm getting the energy work right, but maybe I need something else, another layer, a layer of shadow work or something, empowerment work or a piece like that. But knowing you are doing it right. So don't doubt yourself there. And
you're saying empowerment work, shadow work, and all, and I honestly have no idea what all that is.
Okay, then no problem. I'm happy to answer. So shadow work is really just doing our inner work of some of the questions you were asking, you know, why do people show up the way that they show up? Why am I showing up this way? Why am I triggered by this person? Why am I triggered by this color? Why does this noise drive me crazy? Why am I so angry with my parents? Why am I so frustrated? I feel like I want to grit my teeth here. Do you feel like you have a lot of frustration on a daily basis? I'm like, that's what I feel like here.
I work for the state as a caseworker. Yes.
I
Yeah.
have, okay. Oh my gosh, I have many of those in my community, okay? And so I get it, I totally get it, I understand. So it does feel like more, more energy maintenance. Do you know the term empath?
Yes.
Do you identify as such?
Not empathically. No, I'm energy, not necessarily. I don't know. Somebody described it to me many, many years ago, and I can't figure out how they explained it. I feel energy, but I don't absorb it. I'm sorry. No, the other way around. I feel it and I absorb it, but I don't know how to help people that way. Like I can feel what they're feeling, but I have no idea how to reciprocate or how to help people with that kind of thing, you know?
Okay, so the good news is you don't need to in terms of someone else's energy.
Yeah.
What I'm called to offer you here is to actually be expanding out your energy rather than taking in other people's energy. So when we're an empath, we can be that in many different ways. We can pick up on somebody's thoughts, we can pick up on their energy, we can pick up on their emotions, and we can pick up on their physical aches and pains. So before I knew any of this about myself, I sounded like a lunatic because I was picking up on all the things and I had no idea. So that included physical pains. All day long, I would be like, oh, I feel like I just got stabbed, or oh my God, my heart hurts, or just these weird pains that would come in and out quickly. So once I learned that, and I was taught by a mentor of mine that what we really need to be doing is expanding our energy. And again, this is just very much intention work. There's no right or wrong here. So what I could offer you as a field study or an experiment for the next couple of weeks is, before you go into the office or you see clients online, or how does that, are you, yeah.
Yeah, I telework sometimes, like right now we're on mandatory overtime, so I telework for that most of the time. But I do go into the office every day, but we're still doing phone interviews, not in-person interviews. So, but I do still occasionally have to go to the lobby and talk to clients and things like that.
Okay, so before you get on any call, before you step into the office, before you get on, any Zoom, anything, I would recommend, and just try it on too. If it's not working for you, cool, we'll try something else, right? It's, this is a process of learning, and this is also a part of becoming. This definitely relates to the subject of really stepping into our own, again, energetic practices and how that might work for us. So imagine expanding your energy field. And so I like to tell everybody to, let's all do this really quick too. If you guys want to just close your eyes for just one quick second, ask to be shown your energy. Ask to be shown your soul energy. Pay attention to what it might feel like. Is there a texture? Is there a color? It might look like liquid sand or smoke. If you were to imagine expanding your energetic field, what does that look like? Just ask to be shown. And that first thing that pops in your head, that's it. That's right. You don't have to doubt it. Then when you guys have that visual, go ahead and come back. And then throw it in the chat as you've gotten a hold of your energy there. Is it a color? Did you get a texture? Let me know what you're seeing, feeling. And it's okay if you feel nothing. That's absolutely okay if you feel or see nothing. This is very much intention work. Oh, Tara says, I love that my emotional energy is different than my body's energy. Oh, that's really important to know the difference, right? And so I'm glad that you can pick up on that. Why it's so important too, in terms of this empath talk and, really becoming who we want to be in our full power. We want to know our energy because we want to know what is seeping in that is not ours. And most people that are drawn to, you know, spirituality or witchy ways or meditation or any of those things, generally we all have that empathic ability to us. And so the first thing I teach everybody in my programs is to close the empath book. A lot of people identify as, well, I'm an empath. You might hear a lot of people say, I can't go to the store because I'm an empath and I'm picking up everybody's energy and I can't do that. I'm an empath. I have to feel everybody's, and it breaks my heart to feel their aches and pains. And empath is actually not an identifier. We just believe it is. It is a tool. I take it out when I need to. When I'm in one-on-one session with my clients, I will open the empath book because I want to know what's going on in the energy. I want to know where the aches and pains are in the body. I want to know all of that, right? So I'm doing that with purpose. So Tara, I'm interested. Did you get a visual on your energy? Did you get a color? Did anything come to mind for you?
Yeah, it was like a royal blue, like a deep blue, I guess. Almost like a violet. Deep.
Beautiful. Okay, so, and that may change. You can tune into what's my energy today. And once you get that visual, just imagine again, before you get on a call, before you get in the office, this is for anybody, before you go into a busy store or get into traffic, expand your energy out as far as you want it to go. Okay. And set some intentions for that space. So I like to use the comparison of our house. We don't let strangers off the street come into our home and kick their feet up on our furniture and eat our food and lay in our bed, right? We lock it down, we lock those doors, we mind that gate. So you want to do the same thing with your energy. So set some intentions that you are not going to take on anything that does not belong to you and anything that is not serving your highest good. You can serve your clients without taking on any of that energy. So expand your energy out and just keep going. If it feels like it just wants to go rogue and fill up the whole entire room, you are not going to kick anybody else's energy out by doing that. That energy space is infinite. So as much as you want to expand, that's going to be really important. Okay. And so set some intentions to do that, push out your energy. You're not going to take anything in. And when you get off the calls, or out of the sessions, anything that's not yours, return it to sender. Just with your intention. It is going to be more powerful than you know. When we're in these sessions, or especially, you know, doing things like social work, and that's a tough space to be, yes, right? There's a lot of stuff I'm sure you see and hear about that's really, really tough every day. And so we can unknowingly take that into our energy fields and then bring that home with us and then just store that. And so I think by really minding that, paying attention to that, you're going to feel some of that release and some of that contracted energy that I just keep picking up on. It's going to give you some space. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions about that? Okay. Well, if you do, just let me know if anything comes to mind. But energy work to me is like hygiene. So, you know, we're brushing our teeth every day. We're brushing our hair every day. You're like me, you're putting on eyebrows every day because I don't have any. So it's the same thing. I've integrated my energy work as a daily process, just as I take my daily vitamins. And like I was saying before, we can really often discount that because we can't see it. But my friends, from all of my experience and working with all of my clients in all of these realms that I hang out in, I see the difference that energy makes. So we must pay attention to it. The more we pay attention to it, the more we realize what is us and what is not us. So talk about being in a state of becoming, right? That's a huge step towards doing that. Let's see. So Angel says, so far, the only thing that popped up for the energy field was purple and gold. I probably need to sit and ask again. Nope, you don't need to ask again. You got it, girl. You got it. It might change tomorrow, but today it's purple and gold, and I'm going to expand that beautiful purple and gold energy. Right? AJ, can I teach my first thought, second thought? Do you mind if I? Okay.
Yeah, it's super helpful too, because I think we've had think we had a voice tent, maybe, or I don't know if we've done it in the guild yet, but we've done some work on just like, hey, like our inner critic and things like that. But the way that you explain it is, it's helpful. So yes, go team, go.
Okay, so another tactic that I teach, and this is all towards you're saying, you're talking empowerment, shadow work. So to me, empowerment is, again, getting into who we are in our divine soul state. When we are in that soul form, we're not going to be defined by our traumas, by our mistakes, by our inner critics, by any of that. So that's what I mean by empowerment work. We're finding who that person is. We're becoming that person. And so a piece of that, a huge piece of that, and in any intuitive lifestyle or intuitive type of work, spiritual work, any of that, we must trust our intuition. And so I encourage you all to start monitoring your first thought and then your second thought. Your first thought is going to be your intuitive thought. Your second thought is going to be the ego, the critic, the judge, the jury, all of it telling you, no, that's probably not right. So just as Angel's example, she's saying, I've gotten this and that, but I probably need to sit with it again. First thought was purple gold. Boom, that's my energy today. Right? I'm not sure what do you mean?
Angel, do you want her to type it on here?
Oh, she's gone.
I can type it up. Jen, I think it'd be really helpful. Sometimes in our Joy Guild, we have mentioned before, but sometimes our first thought is really scared or reactive about things that are happening, of just like, this is all going to fall apart, or this is how this is going to happen, or kind of like that first conclusion. And so like, yes, sometimes our first thought is that like, oh, this would be really neat. But like, what about when your first thought feels like the really scary thought? What does that look like? If you could clarify speaking to that.
So my point of view of that, and again, it makes me right for my practice, and everybody else, may have their own different belief system. So I'll just share my point of view of that. Is that's still the ego thought. The intuitive thought is in there, but the ego thought, the fear thought, the anxious thought may be so flipping fast that we miss the intuitive thought. So the more you start monitoring, you will start to be able to tell the difference, and you will give space for that intuitive thought to then have a voice. We may have discounted intuitive thought for so long. And also, anything that stops you in your tracks or brings you backwards is not an intuitive thought, right? The intuitive thought is going to bring you to expansion, to soul state, to transformation, to joy, to all of those things that we want more of. So if it is something that's stopping us, that's fear-based, then we know, okay, that's not my intuitive thought. So fear is a flippin' liar. It will lie to us up and down the street all day long. So if it's fear-based, we might need to dig a little bit deeper for intuitive thought. So to work with that, or kind of around that, is start paying attention to when you are getting an intuitive thought that okay, this is a divine thought, this is a soul thought. Feel into the difference of energy of an intuitive thought versus a fear thought. There we go with the energy talk again, right? Paying attention, following the energy, always follow the energy. And so the fear-based thought, when you guys have a fear-based thought, how do you feel that in your body? Do your teeth clench up? Does your stomach turn? Do you get a headache? Or are you doing this? How do you guys experience fear-based thoughts?
I get defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I can't get it under control, I become offensive.
Yeah. And that is not intuitive divine state, yes. And now, have you had a time in your life that you can recall where you have had an intuitive thought that felt really, really good, and then boom, fear might have crept in? So you don't have to think of an example now, but just spend some time thinking about that and learning the difference of the two. That's what we really want to monitor here. And as you start monitoring that more and really getting to know the difference, you'll realize that intuitive thought does come in. Again, your fear could be such a strong program, or anxiety or whatever it may be, could be such a strong program that it is very fast to overrule any intuitive thought. But it's going to look something like, I want to go after that job position. Boom. But this, and all this could go wrong, and I'm not qualified. Those are the second thoughts, but they're going to feel like the first thought. The first thought was, ooh, I like that job offer, right? The energy might have lit up to it. Pay attention to where your energy is lighting up versus where it's contracting. And that's where you're going to find intuitive thought versus fear. Let's see. AJ says, I feel like fear runs down my spine, clenches my chest, and just balls up in the spot between my shoulders. Tara says, I feel internal panic, but also like I have to pretend I'm actually okay. Jet says, clenched teeth, clenched shoulder and back muscles, avoidance of people. So much of that fear is an external thing. It never comes from me, but from what others impose on me. Yes, 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 yes. To the first thing I feel like my fear comes wholly from within. So that's another important piece of why we expand our energy is we don't need to take on those projections of others anymore. Okay, we don't need to let that into our energy field. And so as we just expand, we're really setting a precedent. One of the things I ask in my accelerator class is, what do you want your energy to say about you before you even walk in the room? What do you want your energy to say about you? Boom, be that. Just tell yourself, be that. Your energy is going to start to speak for itself. And those things like other people's projections, other people's fear-based thoughts, you start to realize, hey, those aren't actually mine. Do I subscribe to that? No, I do not. Is that part of my belief? No. Is that serving me? No, it is not. So this is really about just getting mindful of, again, where our thoughts are going and how they're making us physically feel. That's how we start to read the energy. If you can't get out of your looping mind, I was one of them. Like, you see this spiral behind me? This was my mind of every piece of anxiety I could ever come up with, every trouble I could borrow, everything that could go wrong. I was anxious about anything and everything. And so I really had to show up for that work of ending those looping thoughts. And what really worked for me was starting to follow the energy, because the energy does not lie. Our thoughts lie, our fears lie, our ego lies, our past experiences will then tell us lies. The energy is not going to lie. The body, the reactions in the body are never going to lie. You cannot fake those. So all that fear you feel, that's not aligned thought. If you lit up to something and then immediately it's like, no, I can't, this, that, and the other, those are the second thoughts. Okay. So it might not come as a thought. That's, back to AJ's question, it might not come as a thought. It might come as you lit up to something, but immediately shadow took over, fear took over, anxiety took over. Let's see some of these comments. Oof, new job. That definitely resonates with my life right now. I can definitely relate to what you're saying. I have this ability to project friendly, kind, yet competent expert energy, but other people don't like it, which is my hang up. Ooh, lovingly. That's their problem. Lovingly. Part of becoming. We're going back to the theme here. When we show up exactly how we desire, how our soul desires us to show up without anything else being a consideration, you are then going to step into the highest alignment of yourself, and you are going to bring that best version of yourself to the world. If somebody doesn't like that, what's happening is it is mirroring a trigger within them. Anytime somebody says something rude, judges you, brings up fear, tells you all the reasons why your idea is dumb or irresponsible, that is all a mirror for a trigger that person has in themselves. And when your light is shining and someone else isn't finding theirs, they might not even know that's a possibility, and they're so far in their own trauma or shadow or emotion, they are going to project that onto everybody around them. And so we want to get into this space where somebody else's reaction is not our problem. That's not selfish. That's not rude. That's not ours to contend with. Just like closing the empath book, when we go to the grocery store, it's not for us to contend with every single person's energy in there, all their emotions and everything else. We might pick it up on accident, but that wasn't ours. Lovingly send it back. Again, you guys are getting some really good accelerator type talk here today. So I love this. A lot of activation here for you guys. And Tara, I see your hand up, so I'll definitely get to you in just a sec. But that's the other pieces we want to be so far into, again, our own alignment, our own soul state, that other people don't shake our core. They don't shake our foundation. And we learn, I won't sugarcoat it. Setting boundaries can be flipping hard. It can be uncomfortable. And it can shake the foundation, the dynamics of the family or of the friends or wherever you're setting those boundaries. It makes us really uncomfortable to start doing that. And so we back away and we don't proceed. But you want to get through a little bit of discomfort of feeling like I might be selfish here because I'm not worried about everybody's reaction. Never dim your light because somebody else doesn't like it. Never, ever, ever. That's the worst medicine you can feed yourself. Poison. That's not medicine, that's poison. Don't feed yourself that poison. And this takes some doing. So it's not like, oh, tomorrow I can just go and not worry about what other people think. No, but I'm planting a seed for you here. There's a huge activation. And so just start doing some seeking there. Does that make sense? Okay, Tara?
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood what you were saying before about how your energy doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat that small part right there? Because I have a question, because maybe I misunderstood it.
Mm-hmm. So what I was saying to that, our energy not lying, our body is going to light up to something that's for our alignment, or, it's kind of an intuitive thought to go sign up for the thing or say yes to the thing or take a different route to work, whatever that may be. But then when fear, anxiety, traumas, conditioning, programming, when that steps in and it makes us feel yucky, it feels tight, it feels constricting, feel it down the spine, feel it anywhere in the body, that's your body's trigger of telling you something's out of alignment here. The belief you might be giving yourself is out of alignment. Does that, maybe if you give me your question, I can.
Well, I thought you were talking about the way people perceive you, how your energy doesn't lie, and people feel your energy.
Oh.
And I was like, well, how does that work? Because I mean, depending on what you do, you have this fake it till you make it thing. And I hate that. Because I'm not one of those kinds of people, and I have a very expressive face. So it's actually better for me to be a teleworker than in person with clients, because people lie straight to my face, and I'm just like, it's really hard for me to keep a straight face and go, okay,
Right.
So the whole fake it till you make it, if you're exuding that kind of, energy because you're trying to get through it and whatever it is, I didn't know if you meant that kind of energy, like people perceive your energy and you can't hide that. And I'm like, well, people do that all the time. I mean, as an empath, you can tell the difference, but that's why I was a little confused about what you were saying there.
Oh yeah, we can definitely send out some lying energy to people, right? And if somebody's not in tune with that, they'll definitely pick up on what you wanted them to pick up on, for sure. So you're definitely right in that line of thinking. And so more what I meant is your energy and your body response isn't going to lie to you. So like, let's say that you started dating somebody. This is just for this is a random example. I always do the work example, so let's try a different one. If you start dating somebody, you don't want to be alone anymore. You don't want to go through the process of dating anymore. You've been speaking to this person for a couple weeks, but you start to kind of feel physically, you don't know what's off. Your mind's not articulating, but you physically feel a little off when you start getting around this person. But then you ignore it and you go about, and then all of a sudden you find out this person was not who you thought they were, or they were lying to you, or they betray you. Your body was already telling you of that. Your body was giving you those alarm bells that something was off. We can lie to ourselves all day long in our mind, but our body is going to tell us the truth. Now, there's some caveats and twists and turns to that as well. If we are so far out of our body, if we're so out of touch with our body, if we are in complete judgment of our body, then we need to cultivate that relationship first before we can really get a radar on that. All of this is a journey, my friend. So don't judge yourselves. Again, if you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I don't know what my energy is saying to me. We just start with the intention to get more present with the body and to start cultivating that relationship. I will send people in my shadow work program on a journey of dating yourself, dating your body. Because we must get in tune with that in order to know the truth and the lies. Does that make sense? So AJ, in answer to your question, that basically kind of answers all that, right? It is our first thought, what we think is our first thought is really the ego, fear, whatever thought being so fast, and we've never listened to our intuition that we don't even realize it's talking. But it is, and it might be talking through energy. It might be talking through signs and symbols. It might be talking through radar in the body. We just must get to know, how is my energy speaking to me? How is my body responding? So all day long, to really get to know that, do a little grounding exercise in the morning. You're not going to get it wrong. Sometimes, so you guys can see I talk fast, I meditate fast, I run through meditation fast. And so I don't really like to mess around and do these long, drawn out meditations to ground. So I might just quick send my roots into the ground and I am grounded. Or
like somebody else we know.
Yeah. I'll ground into myself even really quick. So you could do it super fast in the morning. I'm getting grounded with the body. And just as you're going about your day, pay attention to how the body feels. When you're in traffic, are you super frustrated? When you're in the job, are you all clenched up? Are those shoulders burning? Is the stomach hurting? Is it the teeth clenched, right? Do we have a headache? And where do we feel good and expansive? And like our energy is just automatically expanding. So something that you love to do, something that lights you up. Everybody pull that up in your mind, whether it's art, whether it's travel, whether it's henna, whether it's being out in nature, hiking, swimming, whatever it may be. Think of something that really lights you up, right? And you can even just close your eyes again if you like. Think of that thing and think of how your body feels when you are in the middle of doing the thing that you love the most. When you are, what is your zone of genius? And when you are in that zone, how does that feel? And let me know, you guys, as you get a radar on that. Throw it in the chat or unmute yourselves. I am curious. I'm just reading Jet's comment here. It says, these examples are incredibly relatable for me tonight. I had a toxic ex that I continually tried to convince myself and everyone around me that the relationship was great. I understand I lost it. I understand the mind versus body explanation perfectly. Good. I'm glad that works for you. Fortunately, a relatable experience. Yeah, I understand that too. Who do I? So who has a radar on when they're in their highest joy? Let's see. AJ says, for me, it feels like nothing exists when I'm dancing in the woods or on a dance floor, like just gold, and like my body is thrumming with the earth's heartbeat, just sheer flow. Tune into her energy, you guys. Tune into that flow state where she is in her highest flow state. That is going to be really different when she's exhausted herself and she's gone too far and she's done too much and she's not giving herself a break, right? That's going to be a really different energy. And so when she feels that gold energy and like she's thrumming with the earth's heartbeat, that's her intuition talking. That's her soul state talking. what is this? I absolutely fucking love doing jigsaw puzzles. I love that. I love that. That's amazing. So, and she says the more difficult, the better, with no picture to go by and having to figure out what the picture. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. First of all, that's amazing. Oh geez. So when you're in that state of I fucking love jigsaw puzzles, how does your energy feel when you're doing that? Right? Tune into that energy, register that in your body. Okay, I didn't know we were going down the route of talking energy, but you guys, this is very relatable to becoming the soul aligned version of yourself. This is foundational pieces here. The energy is going to tell us everything we need to know. When we can't get out of our looping mind, the more we understand and register our energy, the more we don't need the mind to make the decisions anymore. And we do get in my accelerator, we get into some big scary work where we just listen and say yes to that energy. Shadow doesn't get to talk, fear doesn't get to talk. We've got to make decisions fast because that is the genius state, that is the intuitive state. Let's see, it's not like everyone on this call hasn't been nudging me to breathe. Yeah, see, they all know. Let's see, Tara says, I can think of a specific joy moment, but I don't think I'll fully have one until I'm a few months past surgery. The pain is super distracting. It goes away only at the dentist with nitrous oxide, but then I can't focus. Flow with music writing. I miss doing that. Okay, so I've got something great for you to bring that back into your life when you are doing this divine light exercise, when you're bringing in that divine healing light. Play some music while you do that. Bring some music back into your life. Throw some headphones on, some Miracle Tones on YouTube. I love Miracle Tones. I play them for my house. I play them for myself. I play them for my dog, different ones for different occasions. So I can send AJ a link to my favorites if you guys need recommendations. Otherwise, you can Google or search Miracle Tones on YouTube and find ones that resonate. You guys, energy is powerful and it does have the ability to heal. Let's see, tunnel vision of recognizing shapes and colors and patterns, ombre or color tone. Okay, so bring in that kind of tunnel vision and those colors swirling around and all of that. And that's your trigger. That's your radar. So next time you have something that lights your energy up, compare it to when you're in that zone doing those puzzles. Does it feel very similar? Do I recognize this energy? Might not be the exact same, but it's going to be a very similar energy signature. Angel says, my most joyous moment is when I'm spending time with my BF. Can't wait till me and my daughter can move there. Okay, so tune into that when you're with the boyfriend, best friend, I'm not sure which one, but either way, it could be both. Tune into that energy. That's my highest joy. So that highest joy energy that you feel, that's the trigger for this. Okay, this is an intuitive thought. This is an intuitive feeling. This is an intuitive assignment. It's going to be, again, a similar energy. It's going to light up. Very quickly, shadow can take over. Very quickly, anxiety can take over. So you must pay attention to it, right? He's also excited for you to feel settled and home with him. Can't wait. It'll be less draining. Boyfriend. Okay. Okay. Yes. All right. So you guys are all having a really amazing shares. I love it. Thank you so much for the participation. Does anybody have any questions about, kind of reading energy and paying attention to their energy? Any questions you have at all? You guys don't feel, if you don't know something, it's totally fine. You don't have to know everything that everyone knows, right? So ask your questions. Let me know. I'm going to get a sip of water real quick. Yes, please go ahead.
You mentioned that book to me earlier. Could you type the name of that into the chat so I can go back and look for it later?
You betcha. Let me type that
Thank you.
right now. If I can spell correctly. I don't think I spelled that correctly. Celestine Prophecy is the name of the book. And again, this teaches about the control dramas and why people are showing up the way they're showing up and these certain archetypes that we can come to the table as. So like if somebody's showing up completely intimidating you, that's them showing up in their control drama, and you don't have to control drama back to them, right? Just because someone else is being an intimidator, you can still stay on your axis and stay in your alignment and show up from your soul's alignment, right? We don't have to intimidate right back. So it gives a lot of information about that. It's really great foundational teaching. So I do have some quick slides that's just a little bit of framework of becoming. Let's see, Angel says, sorry, I'm more participating, but when my mom got home, it was stress that wasn't there for a week. Gotcha, no worries. No worries at all. All right.
Angel, during that time, people were just kind of sharing their experiences of like the meditation and what kind of showed up for them. So
yeah. Okay. So becoming. What does this mean to you guys? And how do we do it? So have you guys done any talk, AJ, this month yet about it? Or is this the first time we're talking about the theme?
this is pretty much the first time we're talking about the theme.
Okay. So when you guys think of becoming, what comes to mind? Go ahead and unmute or throw it in the chat, whatever you feel called to do. But what comes to mind for you guys when you think of becoming?
Definitely change, and changing like into something new or something else, which is working pretty well for me right now. It definitely feels like that. And it can be like becoming a new role or taking on an additional role, but it can also mean like what happens when you get rid of a bunch of junk you don't need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Who else? Anybody have a different version of becoming? There's no right or wrong here.
I think more like transitioning or blooming.
Beautiful. That's a perfect description. Angel says change. Tara has her hand raised.
I think I can look at becoming, I'm trying to be more positive. So I'm looking at becoming a, where do I want to see myself? Like, what do I want personally to become? Like, how am I efforting toward my goals to be that better person, or to be more open, or be more, give myself more grace, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Perfect. You guys are using all the words that I have written down to talk about. So it's perfect. AJ says, for me, it feels like a growing into, of unfurling into, and like I have possibilities that I can choose. You guys are all absolutely right. And again, our perspective of becoming could be a little bit different than the person next to us and the person next to them, right? But what I think of becoming, again, is it is a very creative energy. It is that space of anything's possible now, of really looking at who do I even want to become, and then finding those creative ways to step into that. And it is a graceful process. We must. You'll find this one thing is, I don't tell everyone you should do this, you should do that, you should, but I will say you must give yourself space and grace when you are in this becoming phase. It takes as long as it takes, my friends. It can take years to kind of do that. Let me rephrase. It can take years to fully, integrate a whole shadow work process. But what happens is we feel better and better and better along the way. We experience more abundance, more joy, more happiness, more aspects of self. We learn more about ourselves. So when I say it could take long, it doesn't mean we have to feel like crap forever. It just means it gets better and better. We learn more and more as we go. Says, I like the part you said about choices, becoming, and autonomy, freedom go hand in hand. AJ says, I'm so anti that could take years idea. Well, I'll say what happens is, I agree. I want everything right now. Patience was not my virtue, but I have learned patience through this thing, something I never thought I would have in my life. Okay. But to really fully, dig through all the layers and all of the things, it could take some time. It just depends on how much a person's showing up for that work, right? You can get through all of your shadow work and become as quickly as you decide. So I will say that there is space and freedom in that timeline as well. going off of my journey, I tend to take the long way around sometimes, not because I have to, but because I just apparently do things the hard way. So for those that do that as well, know that it's okay if it takes long, but also know that you can choose to speed that process up and have it go as fast as it's going to go. Just depends on how much you show up for that. AJ's face when you said it could take years. Yeah, that's not like a sentence or anything like that. It just depends. It depends on each person. AJ says, I want the dream sustainable. I'm becoming now without the growing. Not a fan at the moment as someone in the smack damn middle of early part of it. Reminds me of the Smokey the Bear. Only you could prevent forest fires. It's true. It's really true. It's all, again, how much we want to show up for it. There were times in my shadow work journey where I was so willing to look at all of these aspects over here of myself. I didn't want to see this. You couldn't tell me nothing about this one. That's not even there. That's not even a thing. And it just took me digging through some other layers. And then I'm ready to tackle this piece of myself. So again, it doesn't have to take forever and a day. It doesn't have to take years and years. It all just depends on how actively you're showing up for that work, right? But again, so becoming, it is a creative process. It is a graceful process. There is deconstruction involved in that. We must tear down the old foundations in order to become this other up-leveled or aligned or soul state version of ourselves, okay? So I grabbed some dictionary descriptions of becoming, just so we could have that as well. So we all pretty much touched on this. Displaying or setting off to best advantage, pleasingly suitable to the particular person involved, the process of coming to be, the process of coming to be something, or of passing into a state. So stepping into, we talk about a lot in my group where, when you're clearing things, you're clearing beliefs or you're clearing old energy out or any of that stuff that we do, we're retiring that. So what are we retiring into? What are we stepping into? What are we becoming by doing all this? Jet says, AJ, that's how I feel about relationships. I just want to be at that go out grocery shopping together point, not the learning about each other butterfly stage. You know what? And you could set that intention. Boom. This is my requirement for relationship going forward. We're going to get in and we're just going to go do that grocery shopping and we're good, right? Set your intentions for what you want, you guys. Never be afraid to do that. In fact, it's very important in this process, in this stage of becoming. We want to start calling out what it is we actually truly desire and believing it's available to us. Something I always say, AJ's probably heard me say it 1,085 times by now, is words are spells. Words are spells. Our world is thoughts and images of the mind physically manifested based off of our perspective, what we believe, what we're buying into, what we're selling to others, what we believe is possible. If you don't believe something is possible, you are not giving it space or grace to manifest. So never be afraid to state your requirements. Angel said, did you say words or spells? Yes, I absolutely did. Our words are spells. Our words are speaking what we're going to experience. And if we don't like current experiences, we can tell the future by looking at our current thought. Our future is going to be aligned with what our current thoughts, words, and beliefs are. And if we don't like that, guess what? We change that. We have all the power in the world. I told you guys in the beginning of the call, we have more power than we even realize. We are manifesting all the time, whether we are doing it consciously or not. So Angel says, I heard that before. I was told that's why it's called spelling, right? Our words are speaking what we believe is a possibility for us. So if I said, I'm never going to have any friends, if that's my dominant belief, and that's what I'm speaking out into the world all the time, guess what I'm going to keep experiencing? Not having any friends. So whatever that thing, let's start minding our energy and minding our words and making sure those two things are in alignment with who we want to become. If we don't know who we want to become, that's simply the journey we're on, discovering that piece, and then we start working towards that. Yes? Yes. And Jet, I love that you were talking about the colors earlier. As soon as you were explaining that, I had this picture already that totally brought me to that. So becoming, like we said, is a creative energy. You are in creation mode. And so when you're starting to create a piece of art on a piece of paper, you are starting with a blank canvas and you have all the colors and tools in the world in front of you, and you can create anything that you want. This is not just woo-woo stuff, you guys, because I walked that journey. As I told you, I was in depression, in despair, in lack, in money struggle, in relationship struggle, in a highly, highly abusive, volatile marriage. I never thought I would experience all of the things I've been experiencing in the past few years. I never thought I would love myself. I had no freaking clue if that was even possible for me. I had no clue. I had no clue how to turn my money situation around. I had no clue how to have positive relationships. I had no clue how to get out of a job. I was dying. I would rather die and get hit by a truck, literally. That's what led me down this road, is when I found myself saying that almost every day, that I just wish I'd get hit by a truck than go into work. And I really meant it at the time. That's what led me down this journey. And I know if I can do that and create miracles in my life, if I can do that, then I know anybody else can too. So all this stuff I'm talking about, I don't teach anything I don't do for myself or I haven't experienced. Angel says, same except the abusive marriage, the money issues, and the depression. Oh yeah. And so many of us do have our own stories, right? But we can definitely connect through that. And it's really the reasons why we step into these spaces, is because our souls know there's got to be something more. There has to be. And what worked before, or the status quo, or the mundane, that ain't working for me anymore. And so we have this intention somewhere that there's got to be something more. You're creating a spell by saying that. There's got to be something more. The other thing I say, we get the evidence we seek. So our words are spells, and we get the evidence we seek. So if we're seeking evidence all the time of how things are going wrong, that's the evidence we're going to see. But if we're seeking that evidence of there's got to be something more, there's more to me than this, there's more to life than this, that's the evidence we're going to start getting. Okay. So if that's not creative energy, I don't know what is. All right, so another step of really becoming, in order to become, we must learn to nurture ourselves first. That can bring up a lot of shadow. That can bring up a lot of, I feel bad, I feel guilty, I am now selfish, right? But if you will just do that, if you will just try that on as an experiment of how I can begin to nurture myself first, you will see shifts in your life. If you are somebody who puts everybody else in front of you and everybody else's needs and wants and projections and expectations, that's got to stop. That might be a process too, but don't get overwhelmed either. If you feel like, oh, I'm this thing and I'm that thing and I'm doing this and I want to fix this, that's okay. Just start with the intention of what you desire. I desire to be in my most soul aligned state. That's all you need to know right now. I'll give you one of my other big ones. You only need your next step. If we try to figure out the whole process now, we are going to get overwhelmed. We're going to miss all the codes and downloads that are available to us along the way. If we're not willing to do the first step, why on earth would we be given the next 10? We got to do the first step. And then the awareness comes in for what our second step is, and then our third step, and then our fourth step. And if you're making those aligned actions, universe is going to support you. You're looking for evidence of that soul desire, you're going to find it. So don't get overwhelmed if you feel like, oh, I need to fix and do all the things. All you need to know right now is your intention to find out what soul alignment even is for you, what becoming even means to you. And then what's my next step to support that? How can I support that today? How can I support that this afternoon? How can I support that in the morning, right? AJ says 10-10, totally don't relate to that call out. Not sure which one you mean, but I have a feeling you relate.
Oh, no, just if you're putting everybody else first and you're like, I'll figure it out later. And I was like, 10 for 10.
Yeah.
Yep, that's AJ.
Yep. Yep, it's
Everybody.
very super important, you guys, to put
You
yourself
know,
first.
it's bad when everybody on the Zoom call side eyes your box.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like we had to like sit you down practically and be like, no, you need to pause.
This is true. Yeah, Jen, I think I had a call with Jen 2 days after the guild intervention meeting where it was like the guild gathering. And then I was like, everybody said it was okay to have guests. Would you please?
Everybody was like,
Be a
"Oh,
guest.
please just pause.
You'd
Because
be
we
so
love you
tired.
and we care about you and
Yeah.
we want you to give yourself grace, and you give so
Yeah.
much of you to everybody else that you burn out, and we
Yeah.
still want you to have that spark for yourself.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're in progress.
Yes.
We're better than we
Yeah.
were a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah,
thank
fill
you,
your cup
everybody.
up first
Yeah, fill your cup up first. What are you
for
gonna
you
do?
to be
Pour
able
an
to
empty
fill
cup?
others.
just for the record, friends, I had a whole day of rest. I slept until like 8:30 yesterday. I got a massage. I like took a nap. I like cleaned. So like it was a chill. I made snacks. We had a whole rest day yesterday. So we're doing the things. I promise.
Yeah, she's learning. I see it. I got my eye on her too. So thank you for backing me up on all that. Okay, so I'm horrible at time. I was like, what am I gonna say for an hour and a half? Am I gonna have enough to talk about? So I'm gonna try to go really fast and not keep you guys over. It's a bad habit of mine. Okay, but next step is facing your shadows. A part of becoming, as we've already, touched on that a lot, is we have to sacrifice these old versions of self, these old comfort zones, these old things that are no longer in our highest alignment. So it can feel down and dirty and ugly and roller coastery, but it is the best thing you can do for yourself. And shadow work, it may be called something different to you, but what you're all doing here and what you're all doing with AJ and that work and really finding, that soul state and that joy state and all of that, that's part of shadow work. It's inner work. It's becoming aware. It's really understanding ourselves. It's releasing traumas. It's releasing old programming, anything that's no longer supporting that new soul alignment. You face them as they come up. AJ knows, when you start to nurture yourself and put yourself at the top of the list, that's going to be the first thing that happens is your shadow is going to start talking. That's selfish. You don't deserve that time. You're letting everybody down. You're being a bad friend, a bad wife, a bad this or the other, right? The shadows are going to start talking when you put yourself at the top of your list. That's okay. And I've seen it time and time and time again. I've been through it myself. Perfectly normal and natural. So just start facing those shadows down. Start looking at all of those things. Jay said, I like the explanation of part of it is looking at triggers and trauma responses and heart wounds and healing those parts of you that you are really terrified and scared. Yep, absolutely. Facing all of that down. Next piece, right along, looking at you again, AJ, boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries everywhere, my friends. It can be uncomfortable. It can shake the foundation. It can shake the family dynamic. They're not going to like it, but those are their own triggers. We are only responsible for our own reactions. Okay. Anybody else's trigger is their own. And I always talk about, well, how do you deal with that when someone's in your face trying to push those boundaries? And, I like to give a nice silent stillness. I'll just stare. And I don't do it to be sarcastic and I don't do it to be rude. By me just looking at somebody quietly, that is their invitation and the point in time where the reflection of their own behavior is coming right back to them. So you don't even have to over explain yourself. If you're over yourself, you're in shadow. If you're backing your boundary, that's it. Hard stop. You're good. Just as me trying to leave my current job, I don't want to disappoint my coworkers. I know I'll miss them and have been telling myself for the last year that leaving them will ruin everything. Oh, you speak right to my shadowy soul. Okay, I always find myself taking on the mothering role in whatever job and then taking on 5 times more of the work because nobody else understands it and it's easier for me. And this whole place is going to fall apart without me and I feel bad. Let me tell you something. This job that I was telling you about where I wanted to get hit by a truck because I hated it. I lost every piece of my soul there. They called me and asked me to come back. They doubled my salary. They were willing to take hours on my terms. They were willing to take that it would only be temporary to get them caught up for the quarter. And I was like, I'm a different person now. I'm not emotionally attached. I can go in there, clean shit up again, move on, collect some money. Well, my genius was ready to just smack me in the face by saying yes. And I really didn't want to do it. And I started to dread it, and I started to dread it. And I always allow this or something better. If this does not support my soul alignment, I don't want it. And I kind of give, this is a whole other topic, but I give my wish list to the magic man to help go out and create the things for me. So I don't worry about them. I just do one step at a time. I worry about knowing what I want, what I desire. And so within literally, I'm 5 minutes away from pulling into the job, 5 minutes, and I get a call, and they're trying to sneak me in under the radar because of rules, regulation, corporate, all the things. And they have an auditor coming last minute, just found out the night before. And so the boss is like, I'm really, hesitant, kind of scared to do this now. I was like, you know what? No, that's okay. And he's trying to figure out a way to pay me under the radar. And I'm like, no. I understand. I don't put yourself in line. That's totally fine. Get off the call. And I felt more abundant than I have felt in a long time. I felt more abundant by losing a almost $50 an hour position than I would have getting the paycheck. I still feel abundant from that not working out. So remember, we've got to remember what's the soul alignment, and is it really our job to run this business? If everything gets ruined, is that even my business to worry about? Is that the boss's part to put the right people in place to handle that? Right? So take that responsibility, just take it off your shoulders. Your responsibility is your happiness and your becoming. And get at me, girl. We could talk all day long about leaving jobs. I have many of them right now in my community working through that as well. Okay, and I'm sorry, I know we're over time. I'm gonna go super fast. All right, next piece is be more fully you. I want you guys to start asking yourselves, where are you holding back on being you? Where are you holding back? Where in a day do you not show up fully how you wanted? Where do you not say something that you felt inclined to say? Where are you not holding your boundaries? What if you want to just dance around and sing, but you're afraid of what people are going to think? All of those things. I could probably sell my soul for $50 an hour. That's funny you say that, because my old coworkers who also left were poking fun at me and saying, oh, so I guess your soul there is a price on your soul. Okay. And I'm like, no, there's not. Sometimes it's not worth it. And when you get so far into your alignment, I lit up that didn't work out. I feel like I'm making $50 an hour from the abundance, because to me, you go through this journey too of what is abundance, what is abundant to me. And one of my highest forms of abundance is my free time to be creative, to do my soul work, to help others step into their empowerment and their alignments. That is so abundant to me. And so taking on this other job would take away from that. And so I did not want to sell my soul for that. This call is just talking to my soul, resonating with so much that has been said. Yes, and it always works out that way. We get on these calls, we get, with these connections with people. I'm sure you guys have had a lot of connections with each other. There is a reason we all gather when we do. So I'm so glad that you feel that way. Tara says, I'm holding back being me in the gaming community, so I'm taking time to find other related but not the same communities that would be a better fit for the full me. I recently found a romantic relationship and a full-time job where I can be me. Woo! Well on your way. And to have that awareness of, I like this community, but it's not really the right fit. And so you're doing the seeking. Exactly. It's exactly what you want to be doing. You get the awareness, you start seeking, where is this a better fit? Perhaps you create your own gaming community someday. You never know. And it could be exactly what you want. And maybe you bring in some, I don't know if you're witchy or woo, or I assume you have some sort of spirituality, something to you. Maybe it can be something that mixes all of those things. I've had gamers in my spiritual realm. There's more of yous out there.
Oh
right?
yeah, there's crossover. I run online live action gaming events, but I also run Samhain and Yule events online. So there's a lot of crossover, and my players are often the same people that come in to those online rituals and spiritual things. So it's pretty
So
cool.
You're already doing it. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. All right, and so I don't know if this is the last piece or not, but one of the last pieces is it really is time to say yes when you want to say yes and no when you want to say no. You don't want to go to that birthday party or backyard barbecue or family dinner, don't go. If it's not supporting your highest alignment, lovingly, I'm going to decline that invitation. Stop. You don't need an excuse. You don't need to over explain yourself. If there's something you want to say yes to, say yes. Say yes. Angel says phone's dying. If there's a replay, I need to catch it. Nice meeting you. So sorry, you guys. I'm trying to hurry. Very nice meeting you. Thank you for joining and letting me crash your guys' party. If you guys have any questions for me, let AJ know and she'll definitely pass them to me. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, we're at the end here. So main point is your shadows are going to come up when you seek further alignment. They have to, because they've got to be contended with. They've got to be worked through, accepted, released, understood, so that you have that space to step into that new alignment. So if all of this is a new concept for you, it's okay. Set the intention now. It's okay if shadow comes up. I'm going to learn what to do with them as they do. Walk through them. Don't let them be the reason that you stop. Okay. Keep going, keep seeking, and know that you are not alone in that discomfort. Okay. You are not alone. All of us have our own shadows. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Okay. All of us have these shadows to contend with, and we all have very different shadows, and we might have similar ones too, but that's why they're coming up, because we're seeking evidence of a new alignment. We're seeking evidence of becoming this person we want to become. So universe is supporting us by showing us these shadows. You know what? When I'm in the midst of a shadow or a trigger, I'm excited. The more shitstorm that's flying, the better. Why? Because I know there's up level on the other side. I know it's coming up to show me this triggers here, this shadows here, this emotions here, this traumas here and present. It's showing me, it gives me material to work with. Okay, now I know what's stopping me here. Work through it. And I do my shadow work process, my inner work. And it just, again, starts with curiosity, question asking. Why am I showing up this way? Why am I triggered by this? Why am I responding this way? Where did this reaction first start? Where did this pattern come from? Where can I trace that back? And is that really what I want to believe going forward? Okay. So it just all starts with some curiosity, some questioning, some seeking of new evidence, and you'll be well on your way to becoming. And if you don't know who you want to become, again, then that's the journey for you. Once you learn that, then you learn how to become that. Okay. All right. Sorry, you guys, that was so much. I could probably talk for another 5 hours and 10 days about this, but thank you so much for being here and for all of the shares. You guys are so interactive, and I love that. I love that. AJ, I think you need to come in and tell my people more to participate, because sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get, talk to me. So I absolutely love it. You guys are amazing and beautiful. And thank you. Do you have any questions for me before we go? No? Okay.
No, this was lovely. Thank you so much for doing this. Now you see why I'm always typing in our group chats, is because we're always interacting too. And yeah, it always bothers me when everybody else in the group is like silent in the chat. And I'm like, nobody else wants to make witty comments about something that just happened. That's cool. That's cool.
Right, like nobody, and I'll be like, okay, I'll just wait. But so the interaction is always good. When you show up and you do interact, you guys are sharing codes and downloads and connections as well. And so you can expand even further by that. So participation in the aligned spaces where you hang out is super important. So again, if you guys come up with any questions later, if you're catching the replay and you have questions, let AJ know and she can pass them to me. I'm always super happy to answer. And I thank you guys again so much for having me. This has been great. I love a new audience. It's amazing. So thank you so much for your time, participation, vulnerability. And I think you all are so amazing. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening and weekend, okay?
You as well, Jen. Bye, friends.
All right. Bye,
Good night.
everybody.